In this video, we're going to run the coordinate transformation tool in order to project our unprojected survey data that we just imported into ArcGIS. And so to start the transformation tool, you want to click on the icon with the red arrow and the black circle, and that brings up the CHAMP transformation tool. And what we can do is hide the table of contents and our toolbox by clicking on the little thumbtack. And that gives us more real estate to view our data with. And so to use the transformation tool, the first thing to do is make sure that the coordinate system is set to the one we're using. And for this data, we're in UTM zone 11 north. You might be in 10 north or 12 north. For this particular example data, we're in 11 north. We want to enter in our benchmark coordinates, and you can either do that manually, or if you've downloaded your data logger data before running the import tool, if you click on load from file, there will be a benchmark coordinates CSV file in the topo folder. You don't want to use the benchmark list CSV in the auxiliary data. You always want to use benchmark coordinates in the topo folder. So we open that, and right now it does not provide an elevation. That should be fixed in a very soon in a future release of CHAMP tools. So for right now, you have to enter in these elevations by hand. And then the same with the compass bearings. And then finally, we need to select an output workspace, and that should be your site survey geodatabase. And then the select input tool, or select inputs button becomes active once we've filled out all the proper information. And then what it does is it zooms into our area of interest, and that's actually right in here. So on this window, you can leave control points as it's auto-populated. On this list box, we have all of our layers from our survey, and we can either remove them from the projection, which we don't want to do. We want to project all of our layers, and then what this checkbox does is allows us to preview these layers on the next screen. So I usually just leave everything alone in this box. Down here, the attribute field should be set to description. That does that automatically. And then finally, we want to select one of our hinge points, or hinge point for our benchmark for our hinge point, and then a rotation method. And these don't really matter because we're able to look through all of the different combinations in the next screen anyway. So we can proceed to transformation. And then now what we have is our projected data overlaying our imagery, and then over here we have all of our possible transformations, and then the residual errors. So the horizontal error to the benchmark that's the data is rotated to, as well as the error associated with the benchmark that that was not used in the transformation. And that's both horizontal and the vertical error. And so we're going to zoom in fairly close to our data. And we have Foster Creek actually running from here across our screen. And then we want to simply first, as a first cut, maybe just look through all the transformations. Some of them look better than others. That one looks pretty awful. That one's okay. And then we can also use the residual errors to help determine what's better on the ones that are a lot closer. And so we're aiming for a residual error of 0. So numbers that are high, either plus or minus, are not as good as 0. And so overall, I would say our first transformation model is the best. And so we visually verified it looks good on the map. I've gone through and looked through all of the errors, and they look pretty good. And I've selected the one with really the least error. And so then we can go ahead and save file and exit. And so we get an output. We can bring our table of contents back, and we have all of our layers kind of thrown together. And we can't really tell what layer is what. So actually, if we open our toolbox back up, we can run the second tool, add symbology to layers. And all we need for this is the survey geodatabase that we were working with. And you want to make sure that that's the site ID and not maybe a previous geodatabase you were working with. Click Add and OK. And it gets rid of everything on the map. And then it brings it back with a better symbology so we can tell the different layers apart. And so the next video we are going to go ahead and draw our polygons and edit our vector data.